love the idea of this. I have like a coffee place in pretty much every town in the Triangle.
Oh, do you?
Where I meet people, I say, "Hey, we're in Wake Forest. We're going to Black and White or
Yeah.
whatever."
What's your favorite coffee shops?
Black and White in
Yeah.
Wake Forest.
Is that your go-to?
If I'm in Wake Forest or near Wake Forest, that's where I go. They have one in Roseville too. It's not the same. If it's downtown Raleigh, which I try to avoid at all costs, I'm gonna go to Sir Walter.
Mm-hmm.
Sola in North Raleigh is fine. It's just insane.
Insane. Yeah.
I really like Jubala at Lafayette Village, which is also insane. And there's one across from the Bell Tower at NC State. Durham Cocoa Cinnamon. There's a couple of them. The Lakewood location is the one that I would go to. But gun to my head, I'm going to Black and White in Wake Forest. I think they have the best latte for sure.
Yeah. When I went to Black and White yesterday, I went to the one in downtown Raleigh that has like the little chocolate shop with it and stuff too. But I've gone to the Black and White in Wake Forest, and it's a cool little vibe down there.
Right.
But that is not the coffee we want to highlight today.
Yeah.
Although I should have got that one for today, but no, it's all good. So today we are highlighting, without spilling my coffee, Larry's Coffee. This is the Cowboy Blend. It's a medium roast, smoky and bold, dark cocoa, brown sugar, and cedar. So I was reading a thing. I did 5-Star Coffee Roasters a couple weeks ago, and I was on their Instagram page, and they were saying that the dark cocoa, brown sugar, and stuff, they're like, that's not in the coffee. And I didn't ever put this together, but they were like, that's what it should remind you of, is these things. So dark cocoa, brown sugar, cedar. We're going to review it at the end. Let me know what your thoughts are.
Well, searching for hints of it right now.
Yeah. Well, search for the hints, man, because I'm so bad at that stuff, and I am trying my hardest to get better at it. But Larry's is in downtown Raleigh. Great place. You can kind of get it pretty much at any grocery store. Definitely Lowe's. I'm not sure about the other ones, but great local coffee roaster, and we'll review it at the end. Another bone to pick with these bags.
Is that one tough to open?
This one was tough to open too, man. Like the ones that have the nice pull.
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful. This one, tough. So let's get into your story, Brandon. You've been in Raleigh for the last, 20 some years?
Yeah, so I moved to Raleigh in 2001. I graduated from high school in 2001, came to NC State. It was really the only place I wanted to go. Was at NC State, graduated undergrad in 2005. I got a master's degree later, and I got another master's degree later from Campbell. But when I was a freshman at NC State, I've always had a job, with the exception of like a 2-week period since I was like 14 years old. I got a job. I was working at a law office. I hated it. It was actually real estate law office.
Okay.
And I love sports. So I reached out to the media relations director at the time at NC State, which she's still there, Annabelle Myers. And I started volunteering in the athletics department. They brought me on, started paying me. And I was a communications and marketing professional from really my freshman year of college, because they started giving me more responsibility, and then they started paying me. And then when I graduated in 2005, I interned there. And then I started, I interviewed with the Green Bay Packers. I interviewed with Notre Dame. Oakland A's offered me a job, but I didn't want to move across country. So in 2006, right when my internship was ending, I had someone on our staff left, so they brought me on full time. So it was great. So from 2003 to 2011, I worked in the athletics department at NC State doing communications and marketing. So football was the main team that I worked with. It was great. Traveled, got to do a lot of cool stuff, met a lot of cool people, got a lot of free clothes. But I got married in 2009 and realized really quickly, I'm traveling way too much. This is not going to fly. As an example, our first Christmas as husband and wife, we spent in the Hilton Orlando with the NC State football team because we were playing a bowl game. Not exactly well, it is memorable, right? I'm telling you about it, but not what we signed up for when we got married. So I had to get out of that. And so very quickly was able to transition to a job doing communications and marketing for Campbell Law School.
Okay.
In downtown Raleigh. They treated me great, but I was one of like maybe 15 people in the building without a law license. Didn't have a JD.
Did you ever want to get your law license?
Absolutely not.
Really? Okay.
Absolutely never. Never. And so They treated me well. I had a great job, but it just wasn't self-fulfilling. I was a department of one. Like I said, I was one of very few people in the office that was not a JD or practicing law. And so I wanted to be out and about meeting people. My brother was in real estate here in the Triangle. And he had told me about 2 years prior, he's like, dude, you should get into this. You love it. People love you. You get along great with people. You crush this. And I'm like, I'm not in sales, right?
Yeah.
I have no idea what I'm talking about. That was just my excuse. But fast forward to July, around June, I think it was actually June 2017. My brother, my father, and my brother's two sons were traveling to Atlanta. My dad's two sisters live nearby, and I'm a big Cubs fan. And the Cubs were in Atlanta, so we were going to go down and catch a game together. And I had this work crisis blow up while we were traveling. And
This is with Campbell.
I'm at the law school.
Okay, yeah.
And while this is going on, I had someone reach out to me and I'm like, I'm on vacation. This is not like, this has nothing to do with media. This is just like somebody wanted me to make a change to some it was a professor's biography on the website. And I was like, this is, I got to find something else. And my brother's like, dude, quit fooling around, get your real estate license and get in the real estate business. You will do great. You love being out with other people. And so I came home from that trip and I talked to my wife and thank God she was on board. She's so supportive. I charted out a 1-year plan to save as much money as I could, do my pre-licensing, get my license, do the post-licensing, and have everything ready to go. Starting from end of June 2017, my target date to start practicing real estate full-time and totally quit my other job was August 1st, 2018. Okay. So that's a very long answer of how I kind of transitioned. A lot of thought and planning went behind, I'm done with this. I can't do this anymore. I'm going crazy.
Yeah.
To let's make sure we're financially protected for at least a couple months and get everything ready so that when I can hit go, there's no fooling around. Mm-hmm. Because my brother had told me, he was like, and I did the research, right? Because I research everything because I'm a lunatic. But I knew the failure rate was super high.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty particular financially. Like I track expenses. I can tell you exactly how much money I've got in pretty much every account, my wife and I. It's absurd, actually. But being a planner helped me make that transition, and it helps me with my clients as well.
What's your wife's name?
Amber.
Amber?
Yeah.
So in 2018, you got your license?
2017.
2017.
I got my license in November 17, and by the end of I think it was the end of January or February 2018, I had all my post-licensing done. They've changed the rules and regulations on that timeline now, but I had that all done in February, and the goal was always to start real estate August 1st, 2018. And so I had 6 months of just saving, mm-hmm. talking to people, meeting some agents that my brother had referred me to, just having conversations with people. Honestly, my wife and I had bought and sold two properties. And so reflecting on those experiences.
They were your primary residence?
They were our primary residence, yeah. And so I knew a little bit. I'm kind of one of these guys. It's like I know enough to be dangerous, but I really don't know what I'm talking about. But so I had plenty of time to kind of try to kick back and learn and research, and that was really valuable.
Yeah. So was Amber working?
It's a great question. Man. So,
because it would help if she was.
Right? Yes, it would, and that was the plan. So, I do like this coffee, by the way.
Coffee's very good. Yeah, I don't know if I'm getting the taste. We'll go over it, but
yeah,
I'll finish the cup and then give my review.
So, Amber, we got married in 2009. Amber had just finished her associate's degree. As soon as we got married in July, the next month she started school full time at UNC to finish her bachelor's. That took 2 years. Well, the first time I met Amber, I knew she wanted to be a pharmacist. I knew that was her long-term goal, and she is now. She works in a pulmonology clinic at Big Duke in Durham. And so the first 2 years we were married, she is at undergrad UNC. The third year, she needed two prerequisites required to go to pharmacy school. I was working at NC State at the time, and I could take myself or a family member could take 2 classes a year for free. So great, we don't have to pay for tuition, but they offered one class in the fall and one in the spring. So it took the whole year. While she started at UNC and throughout pharmacy school, she worked as a tech at Rite Aid to make sure this is really what she wanted to do for the rest of her life, and had a great experience. Well, so that's 3 years. We get married. 3 years we've been married. She's getting education. Then pharmacy school starts. She went to Campbell. 4 years. So we were married for 7 years. Then she did 2 separate years of residency. 1 year at UNC, 1 year at Campbell, teaching a class, working in a clinic. So we're married 9 years before she has a job with benefits. And so all of that was coming to a head, finishing her 2nd year of residency as I've planned to map out my real estate career. So we were confident that by the time August 1st rolled around, she would have a full-time job. The caveat to this is very much like law schools. There's too many pharmacy schools in the state of North Carolina. The market is saturated. And so it took her about 6 to 8 months to get a full-time job. So when I started August 1st, 2018, real estate full blast, she was not working. She had not secured a full-time job. So it was a little stressful, but we had built a nest egg saving up for that. Fortunately, I think she started her first job at Moses Cone in, I think it was October. And she was there until she transitioned over to her current job at Duke. But yeah, I mean, it was a little uncomfortable for a couple months because, everyone tells you it's probably going to take you 6 months to get a deal.
Yeah.
The place I started was a little bit different. You started as, I forget the terminology that they had, but you essentially had 1 month to train or whatever. And then it was like, I think it was 90 days. So you had to have you had to be responsible for 6 transactions. 3 of those could be the place I started. You were either a buyer agent or you were a listing agent, and you could only be a listing agent if you'd been there for a while. They only had 2 of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which is, we can talk about this if you like. I have thoughts of everything, but it would be what was called a listing lead, where, hey, I talked to so and so. They need to sell their house to buyer. They want to sell their house. I'm not a listing agent, but my listing partner here. I could facilitate, of the 6 I had to get in 90 days, 3 could be listing appointments.
Okay.
They didn't have to sign the listing, but they had to at least get in front of the person and have a consultation.
Did you get referrals fees for those?
Peanuts.
Yeah.
Peanuts.
That's crazy.
But the, I got 5 buyers under contract. So I started August 1st, and between September 1st and the middle of October, I had 5 buyers under contract.
It's a tough time to get buyers under contract.
Yeah.
What did you do to get those?
I did the things that you're supposed to do when you first start real estate. I had as many conversations with as many people as I could.
Were you doing open houses and stuff?
I did an open house every weekend. Many weekends I would do one on Saturday and I would do one on Sunday. I mean, let me tell you, dude, my wife wasn't working as we just went through that. And that was a whole nother thing because, I'm trying to be a good spouse to her, and she's worried because she's just here now, put in 9 years. She wants to be a practicing pharmacist, and that was taking longer than we thought. I had just given up a great job with good benefits.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's a huge roll of the dice. And so I was really pressing to make something happen. So yeah, I took every opportunity I could to do an open house, to learn from the agents on my team that had what I thought was a great book of business. I was all in, dedicated to make it happen.
So what was the biggest kind of takeaway you had from your marketing job?
That's a great question. And I've listened to your other podcasts, and I would definitely tell anyone that wants to get into real estate to do this. Active listening. We have a society in our industry. I think a lot of people, we're having a conversation. They're not thinking about what I'm saying.
Right.
They're not digesting it. They're just waiting to go ahead and spit out what they want to say next. Active listening is so important in this business. And so when I would have conversations with people, they would tell me what they were looking for. I absorbed that. Mm-hmm. They would tell me what their timeline was. I would respect that. We would talk about how that could change and things like that. But really, 2 things: active listening, and then providing value to people. Right, providing value to people. I took that from marketing. You can have the CRM, you can buy ads, you can have all the tools, you can have all the things, but if you can't have a conversation with someone and build a rapport or a relationship, you've got no shot.
Right. Yeah.
You've got no shot.
I would say that's probably the biggest thing that agents I talk to on the podcast say.
Yeah.
is relationships are the
100%.
biggest thing.
100%.
And I've seen that in my own business, obviously.
Yeah.
You know, when you meet a buyer, they call you out of the blue, and, you know, I'm sure you've had this, maybe not the follow part that I've done, but, and let's say they close a house. I have in the past, and I'm trying to work on getting better, is not saying, okay, you're closed, see ya, but like, hey, no, we went through an emotional purchase for you.
Yeah.
One of the biggest purchases you're probably ever going to make. And two, like, I like you. I want to, like, why would I just say, all right, see you later? And so that's something that I feel every agent that has success is that, hey, you close on a house, great. Now Christmas comes around, hey, Merry Christmas, or the home anniversary comes up, hey, it was 1 year since you closed, or tax season rolls around, hey, here's your CD just in case you need it for taxes or whatever, and just staying top of mind for those agents is something that every agent that I've talked to so far they've all said the exact same thing.
Well, when I was listening to your podcast with Davis Holt a couple weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago, he said something that resonated with me. And, you know, you may have dealt with this too. I know a lot of new agents deal with it. When I started real estate, I think I was 35 years old. All of my friends already had homes. And they weren't ready for their second or third yet. Or it was like, and I'm very much this guy, I don't want to use the brand new guy.
Right.
I'll use someone that has proven they know what they're doing. So all of my business to start was internet leads.
Okay.
I converted those and built relationships with those people, and they were internet leads. And you build rapport with those people, and then the people in your sphere see that this person knows what they're doing, obviously, and they're having success. And then they're like, well, I haven't heard from my person since I bought this house 3 years ago. And when we had the transaction, they didn't really explain anything.
Right.
It was just sign.
Yep.
I hadn't heard from them since then. And so I'm going to work with my guy. And that's how I think most agents take the first big leap in their business is they prove to the people that they already have established those relationships that I'm for real, ditch whoever and come work with me. And when you're doing a lot of internet leads also, very few of those first 6 deals I had were first-time buyers. So they had worked with someone else before. There was a reason they did not call that person back.
Right. Yep.
And so it's exactly what you're saying. I think the name of the game is, once I get you, what can I do to retain you? And also, I like you genuinely as a person.
Right.
I've been to weddings. I went to a retirement event. I can't tell you how many baby shower gifts I've sent. And I'm happy to do it because I care about these people.
Right.
You spend so much time with these people, and there's a level of trust that they place in you. And that means a great deal.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I would say my business definitely took off when I took relationships over commissions seriously. And that was kind of I would say the big break. I don't know if there was like a specific time that happened, but when I decided that was like, okay, yeah, relationships are the key to the business, because eventually, right, you don't follow up with any of your past clients, you're going to run out of leads.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to wash up. And so then who you got to call? But anyway, so yeah, you get into real estate, you do your first 6 deals, and then what kind of transpires?
So it was, I was like nuclear when I started. September, October, November were fantastic, 2018. Then January of 2019 rolls around. And from like January to April of 19, boy, I think I wrote like 2, maybe 3 contracts. It wasn't much at all. And so part of that was learning how to deal with the transactions that are under contract while you're also trying to generate new business and help people that you're starting to work with who haven't made a decision yet or for whatever reason. And I like to tell people that you really learn how to do the real estate business twice. The first is when you get started, and then the second time is when you're actually getting people under contract, and you have to walk them from contract to close while still going out every day and killing something new and dragging it home for dinner. And so it was a part of filling that out. It was a part of also, not getting too high on my own petard. Hey, I had a great run to start. It's not just going to keep coming to me. I've got to keep working with the same intensity and focus that I did at the, quarter 3, quarter 4 of 2018. And things just eventually turned the corner. I went back to doing the open houses, calling the leads, providing value, following up on searches. being really specific and listening to people, what they were telling me and finding it,
Yeah.
not waiting for them to find the link on Zillow and text it to me.
Right. Right.
Finding it for them and
Being
showing,
proactive.
providing value. Hey, you told me this is it.
Right.
When can we go?
Yeah.
And if you don't like it, you don't like it. But I think this has got a shot.
Yeah. So after that little dry spell you had, how was business after that?
Really, great.
Yep.
I think I was actually telling my brother the other day, in 7 years, I think I've had on 3 occasions a month where I didn't write at least one contract.
Oh, really?
And that's not so bad,
Right.
because we travel occasionally, and, rates are what they are. We don't control those. And so I'm happy with that. I think one of the most important things, and this is something I'd love your take on, we're working in an industry where we have friends that are real estate agents. We follow them on social media. We see what people are doing. I think it's so important for agents to figure out, what does success look like to me?
Right.
Do I want to grow my own team and have 15 buyer agents working under me? Do I want to be able to say that I sold 100 homes this year? Everybody should have their own goals. And I don't care what my friend whose business is double than mine is doing.
Right.
And the guy who's doing a quarter of what I'm doing shouldn't care what I'm doing either, right? What does success look like to you? And so I have a loose idea of what I want every year. I want to do 30 deals a year.
Okay.
30 deals a year is good for me. I have a great family life, and it's not too much.
Yeah.
Now, if I back into another 5, that's great.
Right.
I would love that. I'll do it all day, and I have the bandwidth to make that happen. Another 20, beyond my capacity.
Right.
And that's not where my heart lies, at least right now. One year during COVID, I did 43 deals, and I said, and that's not a lot to some people,
Right.
but for me, it's me. I don't have a showing assistant. And so I told my wife, I was like, man, I don't think I want to do this again anytime soon.
Yeah.
That was prior to having a child, and that really changes things.
Yes. Yeah. I would say before my daughter came, so she's 3 months, or about to be 4 months. Excuse me. She's about to be 4 months old. And before she came along, it was, how big can I make this? So I was like, okay, what's my next step? It's to go break off, do an independent brokerage, and build it. I wanted to be the biggest brokerage in Harnett County. That was like my goal. And then I have some agents come on, and they were all great. But a lot of newer agents, a lot of like kind of hand holding and stuff. And I'm like, I want to sell. So yes, I like the idea of like having agents and partnering with other agents, but ultimately, like, I want to sell. And I really made that switch when my daughter came, because then I'm like, okay, I'm getting calls from my agents that work, at my firm at 11 o'clock at night. Hey, I'm writing up this contract. What's going on? While I'm trying to put my daughter back to sleep because she woke up for the 5th time. Yeah. It doesn't work. No. And so, it could work for some people if that's their priority. But I mean, I think you and I are on the same page where my wife and daughter are my priority. And so, yeah, if I can get, like right now, like my goal is about 25. So if I can get my 25 this year, like you said, if I can do a couple more, great. But if I can do my 25, I know that I can be home almost every night with her. Yeah. I'm not missing anything big. I still, I think it still is the responsibility of the man to go and work and grind and be on it. But
we agree on that for sure.
But that doesn't take away from the responsibility of a father to be there for his daughter. And so, I don't know. I think it just is so personal. Yeah. And what your business is.
100%. And I think a lot of people make the mistake of, man, if I could just get to my business to where my friends is, my life will be set. Not necessarily, because, that one year I did 43 transactions. It was endless. Mm-hmm. It never stopped. And like I was telling you before we got started, my wife and I just had our 16th anniversary. Mm-hmm. And we have a 22-month-old. So it's been quite a big change over the last 2 years. Right. And I didn't wait all this time just to be like, hey, I'll wait till she's 6 and then I'll spend. No, absolutely. No, I want now. I want to see now. I want to see tomorrow. Right. I want to see 3 months from now. Now, that motivates me to make sure I'm taking my business time seriously. Right. But I have really focused personally with my wife on, okay, this shuts off at this time every day. If I'm negotiating a deal, that's different. If
Right.
I've got someone flying in it out of town and that's all they can do, or, most people work 9 to 5s. They can't look at a townhome in Clayton at 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Right.
We can work around that with enough notice. But one other thing that's helped my business is setting those expectations with new folks as I meet them.
Mm. So what do you tell them?
Yeah. I say, hey, here's the deal. Basically just like this. I pick my daughter up from school. I have to have her by 5:30 every day. I don't ever want her to be the last child picked up. I like to pick her up no later than 4:45 or 4:45. My wife is not in a position to pick her up based on where her job is and where she commutes. So the odds of me opening a door and showing you a property after 4 o'clock are very low.
Right.
With exception, if you're in a situation where that's all you can do, let's have that conversation now. And as much advance notice as you can give me, my wife can make some adjustments. We can work things out. Like, it's not going to be a barrier to working with you. But if you just randomly send me a property or call me up at 1:30 in the afternoon and say, hey, can you meet me here at 5? The answer is no.
Right.
And so I'm telling you this now to go ahead and set the expectation. And for so long, even before before our daughter was born, I was afraid to set an expectation that harsh.
Yeah.
Which is kind of weird because I'm very blunt with my clients. I don't like to beat around the bush.
Right.
And I think people respect that. But I was nervous to set that expectation with my clients because I thought it would be a turnoff. And 99.9% of the time they say, well, we wouldn't want to take time away from your family.
Right.
Like, I think people actually like to be working with someone who's not a cyborg.
Yes.
And has like a beating heart. Like, they want to work with a good person that cares about their wife and child.
Yeah.
And so set that expectation. I was so good about setting expectations about the process. And hey, this money's got to be in your account. It's not like we're under contract and then you move some assets and get them the check 4 days later. I was so good at that. What I was afraid to do, and it was a confidence issue, quite frankly, was to set the expectation to control my calendar better. But since flipping that switch, it's definitely made things better.
Yeah. Yeah. When you talk about looking at your friends on Instagram or whatever and seeing like, oh my goodness, look at them. They're grinding. They're doing all the things. I want to be like that. I mean, I could be botching the saying here, but comparison is the thief of joy, right?
Well, you nailed it. That's exactly right. And I think it's true. And social media plays tricks on people.
It does.
It's not always what you think it is.
No.
I mean, so this is sound terrible. How many times have you been on Facebook and like the girl you went to high school with who's always got pictures of her family, like she changes her profile photo to her and her kid, and you're like, well, something's not going right here. Next thing you know, they're divorced or whatever, and that's a terrible story. But things always look like they're great when they're not. Agents look like they're busy and they're not.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'm not hating on anybody.
Right.
One thing that I don't get caught up in, and this is just for me, is I don't want my social media to all be real estate. I don't want people to think of me as, hey, realtor.
Yeah.
I want them to think of me as their friend who happens to do real estate, and I want to stay top of mind, of course. And
plays drums with their daughter.
Plays drums with my daughter, yeah. And I good recon or research. Obviously, they know what I do. I want to stay top of mind, but I don't want them to think. I don't want that to be all I am to them.
Right.
And I like showing the life stuff. Obviously, I put real estate stuff on there. We have to.
Right.
And I like it. I get business from that. But I don't want people to think I'm only a real estate agent. And I think a lot of agents make the mistake of marketing to other agents on social media.
Yeah.
That I don't understand.
Right.
I have never once thought, hey, if I do this, I'll go viral and that will lead to referrals. No.
Right. Yeah, no.
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it.
Right.
That's just not me.
Yeah. No, I hear you. Yeah, my Instagram, I don't know if you've ever looked at it, but it's like 90% real estate stuff. And it's like, I know I need to post more of my family stuff, but right now, like I'm still trying to get the podcast out there. So it's just a lot of podcast stuff. And
yeah.
But I mean, truth be told, clients don't really care about how many houses you've sold. And I think posting every now and again, hey, I've sold this house or whatever, kind of builds some credibility. But at the end of the day, they want to work with somebody they know, like, and trust. Not, hey, dude, you got 15,000 followers on Instagram and you've sold, every day you're posting the house that you sold. So I definitely want to work with you. I mean, I could be wrong about the consumer, but I feel like the consumer does not really care.
I think you're totally spot on. When I was the director of marketing and communications at Campbell Law School, I started all their social media accounts. They had never had it. And the dean at the time is an awesome guy. He was actually the associate dean, vice dean. he was like, well, how bad is it going to look if we don't have like 1 million followers? And I was like, dude, the law school started you graduated your first class in 1979. You've only got like 30,000 alumni. On what planet would it make sense for you to have? And we're not buying followers, by the way. That looks terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like we're giving out Super Bowl tickets or iPhones or like you have to gauge it based on what it should be. Why? I don't think it makes sense for 5 million people to follow me on Instagram.
Right.
I don't even think it makes sense for 15,000.
Right.
I just want my friends and my past clients and my repeat clients, and I'll eke in enough people here and there. That's fine.
Right.
I just want to stay top of mind with those people. I'm going to continue to meet more people, but my audience is my people that I have the relationship with. It's not an agent in Texas who may send me a referral.
Right.
That would be great. But that's not who I'm sharing pictures of my kid with.
Right.
I'm sharing them with my clients because they know my kids and I know theirs.
Yeah. What about the agent that their model is social media?
I think it's whatever works for you, and you have to figure out what's comfortable for you. I have a very good friend who gets a lot of business from social media. We're in the same coaching ecosphere. She gets a ton of referrals. And she's awesome. She's a wonderful agent. Would be a great person for you to talk to.
Yeah.
I'll give you the name. She does a lot of social media, a lot of video content, and it works. I know it works. I'm seeing it work for her. Her business is multiplied. I just don't, that's not me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's okay. It's
Right.
okay for that to be her. She's wonderful. That's not me, and that's okay too.
Yeah.
I'm still putting food on the table.
Yeah. So let's dive into the Ocean Air real estate company. So it started in 1979 by your grandfather?
Yes, sir. Yeah. Our grandfather was is actually an awesome guy. He was the mayor of his town, Holly Ridge, North Carolina, which is about 2.5 hours from here. Mayor of the town, the local realtor, and he did everybody's taxes. And for a time, he was also the postmaster. So he was, he was the man. He was crushing it. I use the phrase to people all the time, jack of all trades, master of none. That's one of my favorite sayings. This guy literally was the jack of all trades and the master of all. He was amazing. But so he started Ocean Air Realty. When he passed away, that ceased to be. He actually stopped practicing a little bit before he passed away. And then my brother got into real estate here in the Triangle. And eventually started his own thing. They first started at the coast back home. We're from Sneads Ferry, so I'll be Holly Ridge, Surf City area. And they were, I think for a time, they were planning on him and his wife and their 2 boys were going to move back home, and I'm going to open this brokerage. And he opened the brokerage and brought a couple agents on board, and they were starting to catch fire and really grow and do serious business. And then they decided, actually, you know what, we're going to stay here. I think quality of life, I don't want to speak for them. I've always thought the quality of life was probably better for their boys, and that's why they've decided to stay here. But when he did that, I was starting to ramp up in real estate, and so there was never an illicit promise that we're going to work together or hey or whatever, but it made sense. Being very candid, I did not like where I was at ever a day that I was there. And so when I got my business in a position where I had the confidence and I had my last closing in line, I'm out of here and I'm going to go work with my brother the way it probably should have been the whole time. Yeah. And I've never looked back, and it would take a cataclysmic family breakdown for me to leave. I can tell you that. That's not very unlikely to happen. So we got a good thing going. It's kind of weird working for your brother. It's his firm. He owns it. I'm just another agent, just like any agent is at a firm. Obviously, I'm sure I probably have his ear more than anybody else. But it's cool. The one thing that is kind of weird is sometimes we talk about real estate too much, and I think one of us has to be like, all right, we're done talking about real estate.
Yeah. So your grandfather starts it in 1979, and then when does he shut it down?
So let's see. Granddad was 20. I was 21 when Granddad passed away because my brother had just gotten married. So that was 2004. I would say I don't know 100%. I would say probably around 98 to 2000. That's my guess.
And then when your brother?
Oh God, when did Doug start it back up? So I started in 18. I want to say it was 16.
Okay.
It's either 16 or 17, but I want to say it was 16 when he started.
And so he just used the same name that it was.
Logo, copyright, everything. Yeah. It's his now. He legally owns it. It's all his trademark and stuff. But yeah, I mean, it made total sense. And, I think I actually had this thought. It's like, wait, we're not in the ocean. Or near the ocean. He started it back at the coast, which is where it was, but we're the Ocean Air Realty up here in the Triangle, and we're, what, 2, 3, depending on where you are from the ocean. Nobody cares.
Right.
It's Brandon's my guy, or our agent Janine at the coast. It's, it's
Right.
like what you said. It's the relationship.
Yep.
The name of your firm, absolutely. I don't think this day and age matters.
No, I don't think so.
Now
that being said, I do feel Ocean Air Realty does have a presence in our market, and a pretty big presence, because I've obviously heard of it.
I appreciate that. Definitely, the office at the coast is bigger. We have more agents there, but we do a good amount of business here for the number of agents that we have, and we're not in terms of agents. I think there's been one period when we've had more than we've had now, but we got a good group of people that take it seriously. And I think your conversation with Liz Brown, that really resonated with me, because some firms are just like, hey, I want to get 400 agents in this room, and we're going to do this meat and cheese grinder every Monday. And that's not us. And, we want a small but mighty team that knows how to treat people and does good business. And there's a lot to be said for that, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a cool story. So did he, I mean, I don't want to focus when I'm here with you, but your brother, did he always wanted to be in real estate?
No. He was in higher ed just like I was, except he was on the fundraising side. And so I think he worked at NC State 2 different occasions, I believe. He worked at Elizabeth City State. He worked at Central. He worked at Georgetown for a spell, all in fundraising, some athletics, but mostly not. UNCW, if I didn't say that. And his wife got a job. They were living in, I think it was in D.C. and Arlington. That really wasn't for them. She got another job. They came home. And I think when they were coming home, he was like, I'm tired of asking people for money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's kind of like where I was when I was working at law school. I was like, I don't want to sell this. I don't want to be the spokesman for this anymore.
Right.
And so he switched, and I remember asking him, like, why real estate? And he was like, well, Granddad did it, and I thought it was great, and I always thought I'd be pretty good at it, and I like being out meeting people.
Yeah.
And he reminded me of having that conversation with him when he finally got me to convert in 2017. And yeah, I mean, he's crushed it. He did great. He still produces.
Has it?
Yeah. And it's interesting. What you were talking about earlier about growing a team. Doug and I are so alike in so many ways, and we're so different in so many other ways too. And one of the things that I really admire about him that is totally different from me is, and this is going to sound bad, but it's, I can be honest with myself. I'm not more harsh to anyone than I am on myself. My brother sees the best in everybody. Pick a random agent off the street, hang their license at our firm. He sees it, and he believes in them, and he's sincere. And he thinks, with the right training and with enough time and support, this person can be a top producer. He believes that. I don't want to say I don't, but I just, you look at the failure rate in our industry, and, a lot of people just don't put in the work. Now, to my brother's credit, we've had a bunch of people join our firm over the years that never practiced real estate never ever practiced it elsewhere.
Okay.
And they've come in and absolutely crushed it.
Yeah.
So he's very good at doing it. I don't have the patience to teach somebody, which is one of the reasons I don't have a desire to ever hang my own shingle there, because I can't do it.
Yeah.
That's not a skill set that I have.
So back when you got your license, your brother convinced you to do it. You said, all right, you went out and got it. Well, why didn't you hang your license with him?
Well, at the time, he hadn't really revved up yet and got it started in the Triangle.
Okay.
And that was really the
main
primary reason. Yeah.
That makes sense. Why do you think like the failure rate is so high for so many agents?
I don't think people understand what it takes to be successful. The amount of work. It's so easy. There's zero barrier to getting your...
Zero barrier. That's true. It's crazy.
Absolutely ridiculous. I think it's a revenue stream for the state of North Carolina, but I think it hurts consumers, quite frankly. It definitely makes our profession look bad.
Yeah.
But I don't think people understand how difficult it is to build a business.
Yeah.
You take an environment like this where rates have basically been 6 3/4, 7+ for the last 2.5 years or whatever it is for the most part. there are legitimately very good reasons why most people don't want to transact and have not transacted recently.
Mm-hmm.
Now, obviously, you can pull up the MLS and look how many homes have gone under contract in the last 24 hours. So people they're contracting and real estate transactions are happening. But you got to find those deals and you got to stand out. Your hand has to be the one they tap
Sure.
when they decide they're ready to do something. And I just don't think a lot of agents understand how difficult it is to get started for some of the reasons we've talked about earlier. I mean, if you're around our age, your friends have already bought a home. They're probably not going to want to use a first-time agent, even though it really doesn't matter.
Right.
You've got to really get after it and take it seriously. And you've got to pay really particular attention to the education piece. There's so much to learn, none of which they teach you in that $1,300 pre-licensing course. How many times have you measured the square footage of someone's home?
Right. That never.
I pay Harmon Property Solutions to go and do that to make sure that it's right. And so they don't teach you anything about building a business, and building a business is very difficult.
Yeah.
I mentioned earlier, every day we got to go out and kill something and drag it home for dinner.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people don't realize that. And when you're self-employed, it's very easy to be like, hey, I'll meet someone for a drink, or I'll do whatever today instead of focusing on my business. And then when you haven't had a commission check in 45 days, it's hard to get motivated.
Yep.
But that's why you don't have the check, is because you didn't put the work in last quarter.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
I see that a lot with agents. They'll have a great quarter and then let off the gas.
Yeah.
So then their next quarter sucks, and they're thinking, "Well, in the world, I just had a great quarter." And I find that I don't know how to put this, but I don't know. I guess they just kind of like think, all right, this is going to keep up. Q2 was great. Q3 is going to match that. And so they say, all right, let me just stop doing the things that I was doing that was working in Q1 for Q2 to be great. And now I stopped doing those Q2, Q3 sucks.
I think, first of all, you're right. That's happened to me personally in the past. Yeah. When my wife was pregnant and we were going to see the doctor all the time and doing all those things, and right when our daughter was born, I took my foot off the gas, and my business suffered a little bit for it, and that I was okay with that. Mm-hmm. But I have a lot of friends in the business here locally whose their amount of business they're doing isn't near what it was when we were originally working together. And I've had some of them reach out to me and say, hey, what do you think? And my question for them is, are you taking it as seriously as we used to take it? Mm-hmm. A lot of people need accountability, whether that's an accountability partner or perhaps their spouse or significant other. I think one of the benefits of being on a team is having some degree of accountability, because it's just too easy to do nothing. Mm-hmm. But, if you're sitting in a room or you're on a Zoom call or a conference call, or even in a WhatsApp group, and it's like contract, blah, 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 I got this listing, blah, and you're the one guy who doesn't have anything. Like when I first got started, that was the environment I was in. I did not want to be that guy at the Wednesday meeting that was like, hey, I haven't done anything in a month.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do that. Right. And so it was that was a great motivator. That doesn't work for everybody, though.
Right.
That doesn't work for everybody, unfortunately.
Yeah. For me, like, I need an office environment. And I found that when I split off, I was at Keller Williams for 4 years, and then I did my own brokerage for like 2 or so. And I realized I thought it was a good thing that I wasn't in an office environment. I thought, okay, I can just kind of put my nose down to the grindstone and work. And I, to some extent I did. But when you walk into an office and you're walking past other offices, and they're on the phone talking with clients, and, they're talking to their agents about their deals that they got going on and all that stuff. It does create some kind of like factor in you where you're like, I got to get something done.
100%. All these people are doing deals. Why am I not doing anything? What are they, the other thing too is the education piece. Having the ability, and this is where my brother being in real estate is great. We do comps for each other. We bounce ideas off of each other all the time. We do it with our other team members as well, of course, and we help people do that stuff. But when you're in an environment, I'll give you an example. During the heat of COVID, I mean, when due diligence was insane, mm-hmm. I had a listing in Cary, and an agent sent me an offer for that listing, and I had like 18 offers on this listing, and the due diligence was $1,200. And I'm like, lady, that's the lowest due diligence I've seen in like 9 months. Yeah. And she They didn't get it, and I call every agent who submits an offer on a listing that doesn't get it personally, because I think that's the way that we should do it. I also would love to build rapport with that agent because we may have an opportunity to work together again in the future. And she said, well, what was it? And I said, well, $1,200 in due diligence. Everybody else blew past you. She was like, really? And as I kept unpacking with her, she was a solo agent. And because she was in a silo, not having conversations with other peers, she had no idea that the market had exploded around her. And she told me, she said, I have not had a buyer win an offer in 6 months. And I'm thinking to myself, you must be ready to just throw yourself off of the roof of the skyscraper, because you're doing everything with the right intent, trying to help people, and you're coming up short. The reason that you're coming up short is because you don't really have your finger on the pulse of where the market is. And so, to your point of coming into an office, having those conversations with your colleagues, it helps you stay sharp, helps you know what other agents are doing, and that provides an enormous benefit to your client. That provides value to your client. I think another reason that agents fail, especially when they get really busy and then their business falls off a cliff, is they stop providing value.
What does value look like for you?
To me, it's active listening. It's going above and beyond. Like I said, it's not waiting for you to send me the Zillow link. And that still happens to me too. People, I don't set up perfect searches, but I send a lot of properties to people, not a search that I set up on my website that if you're looking for 3-2 in Garner, it sends you I set up, when my clients are really hot, ready to go, I set up an MLS search, very specific, that comes to me. So it blows up my inbox all day. I look at those immediately, or as quickly as I can. And if I think it would resonate with the buyer, I text it directly to them and say, I think you should check this out.
Yeah.
I think this is worth looking at. If they've told me something that doesn't correspond with what I'm seeing in that listing, I just delete the email and they never hear about it. But I think a lot of people take their foot off their gas about doing stuff like that. I think a lot of people aren't in tune with their clients about what rates are looking like, what inventory is looking, and they quit providing value. And I think we're definitely in a business where our success is directly correlated to the amount of value that we're providing to other people. So all those clients that we get that have worked with another agent prior to linking with us for whatever reason, there was a lack of value there, or something happened. There is some reason that they said, I'm not going to call that person again, and I'm going to work with Ethan instead.
Right.
And it never stops.
Yeah.
Just because your client closed 4 years ago and you think they're going to be there for 10 or more years, that doesn't mean that person doesn't exist. You continue to provide value to them. So what could that mean? Hey, you closed I had someone reach out to me last week. Actually, we closed at 7.6 last year when things were really bad and they bought contingent. Should we refi now? So I put them back with their lender to have that conversation. Hey, did you see this home? Your exact same floor plan is for sale in your neighborhood. Probably a pretty good indicator of what your market value would be. So, I'm not trying to talk you into selling. I'm just providing value to what your biggest asset is. There's always a way to provide value. And I think a lot of people stop doing it. Yeah. Maybe because they get so busy and they're chasing other business. Maybe they take it for granted. I think a lot of agents just get lazy.
Yeah.
I'm guilty of it.
Oh yeah.
There are some days where it's like, hey, I'm going to watch the Cubs are playing this afternoon at 1. I'm going to watch the Cubs game. We're all guilty of it.
Right.
The problem is when you string it together and make that your consistent day, that's when you upset the apple cart, right?
And heard the podcast from last week. It hasn't been out yet, but it was with an agent named Brandy, and we were talking about this idea of a lot of agents doing the bare minimum and to get their paycheck. And I was like, we get paid quite a bit of money. And if you're not the proactive agent, I mean, I think like the amount of money we get paid and the amount of work that a good amount of agents are doing don't go hand in hand.
We're in a market now, and I've talked to a couple of people on our team and my brother, and I love talking real estate. So this is very fun to me. So first of all, I should have thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
I'm honored. I meant to say that when we got started.
Right. Good.
But we got right into it.
I'm honored to have you on.
Thank you. I think it's more important now than at any time since I've had my license to provide value, especially on the listing agent side. Because look on MLS, dude. Most homes are sitting. Most areas of the triangle now, and not everywhere, but most areas, in my opinion, is a buyer's market.
Mm-hmm.
And so, hey, I put the sign in the yard and the house on the MLS. That is not enough.
Mm-hmm.
How can I justify what you're going to pay me at the end of the day?
Right.
I've been a consumer of other agents prior to getting in real estate myself. I have not been happy with the service sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes. So I take it very seriously. I know they know what they're paying me. It's on the seller net sheet. I need to explain and provide and show that value.
Right.
And the standard, it's on the MLS. I've hired the cheapest photographer. The photos are out of order. Let me tell you something that really sends me through the roof. When a property's been on the market for 60 days and you go to look at the disclosures to get the RPD down and there's nothing in the fault, well, maybe that's part of what the problem here is. And that person is getting paid handsomely more times than not.
Right.
And that is a disgrace. And that's part of the reason that our industry has the perception that it does.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to tout myself as being perfect. I'm not.
Yeah.
I make mistakes every single day of my life, but I do everything I can to make sure my clients on both sides, buy and sell, know that I've got your best interest at heart. This is what I'm trying to do to help you.
Mm-hmm.
And when things aren't going well, like the property sitting on the market for 75 days, you really need to go above and beyond other than saying, well, the market's slow right now.
Right.
Yes, it is slow, but you're still getting paid. So what are you doing in the meantime?
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, especially with listings, I'm constantly trying to think of, okay, what's something else I can do to provide value? And if it's something that a lot of people around here aren't doing, even better, because that's going to help me stand.
Like, what are some of those things?
Well, I've started looking into Zillow Showcase. I'm going to start trying that with
Okay.
a couple listings. Not particularly a big fan of Zillow, but quite frankly, I need to get as many eyeballs on these listings as possible for the reasons that we just discussed. Again, a lot of agents is what's the cheapest photographer I can get? What's the cheapest floor plan? Or can I use a floor plan from another listing? Or God forbid they pull the tax record information. Again, this person is paying me X percent or whatever. Of course, that's negotiable. I don't want to get a brown envelope or anything. But yeah, I owe it to that person to justify what I'm asking them to pay me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think by trying to go above and beyond and providing other resources, I don't have any pushback on that. Very, very rarely.
Yeah. Yeah. Where do you see the market the next 12 to 18 months, kind of?
There's some employment data came out today. I don't know when this is going to air. I don't think we're definitely not getting a rate cut tomorrow. I don't believe. Coming into here today, when I woke up, I thought we'd probably get a rate cut in September. I really don't see that happening. I think it's going to be pretty much what it is right now for the next 6 to 8 months. The only thing I will say, without trying to get too political here, which I'm happy to do off camera, is, the president seems absolutely hell-bent on bringing interest rates down, and that is going to happen at a certain point.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you cannot defeat the bully pulpit up but to so long.
Right.
I think if rates were to get to 6.5 or certainly around 6.25, where there's a rocket ship out here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the demand is there. I think the demand is there. People are just pinched. And I think, I think it's smart on agents to understand why. And I think it's smart for agents to be having the conversations and providing value now so that they position themselves to help as many people as they reasonably can when the market turns, because it's going to turn.
Yeah.
It wasn't going to be COVID forever.
Right.
It's not going to be this forever.
Yep.
So just keep blocking and tackling and doing the little things that you need to do every day to position yourself to do the right thing and help people when the time is right.
Yeah.
We get closer to it every day. I just don't know when it is. I will say a year from now, I think the market will be different.
Yeah.
I hope I'm right.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
we'll see.
You're right too.
We'll see.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I do think the interest rates will go down. I mean, we've been wrong before, with that as far as timeline, but they always go up and they always go down. It's just the nature of real estate. And so it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And I do think it is going to be happening relatively soon.
So to kind of bring this back to a question that you asked me a couple minutes ago, why do a lot of people flame out and not succeed?
Mm-hmm.
I said it's difficult to provide value and treat it like a business. There's also a bunch of things that we cannot control. We can't control monetary policy. We don't control the Fed or interest rate. We can't control if the government stops showings like they did in Durham during COVID. Like, there's all these factors that we can't control. Unfortunately, I think some people.
Wait.
Yep.
I'm not familiar with them stopping showing.
Oh yeah, you couldn't during COVID. There was a brief period of time where you couldn't do shows.
Who was stopping them?
And Durham County, you couldn't do showings in Durham County, and you weren't supposed to actually even perform inspections or appraisals. Now I know some of that was going on.
That's crazy, man.
But yeah, I lived in Durham at the time. Durham was very locked down. Fortunately, we're past that, and I'm going to pray that we never go through that again for a variety of reasons. But, there's all these things that we can't control. Unfortunately, I think a lot of people use that as an excuse, right? We talk about this all the time on our team. Interest rates are 6.7, 6.75, higher than that, 7, depending on what your finances are. Who wants to buy a house at 7%? I wouldn't buy a house.
Right.
Well, if you wake up every day with that attitude, guess who's not going to be helping anybody?
All right.
You.
All right.
Man, people are being born, they're dying, people are getting married, they're divorced, they're taking jobs, they're leaving, they're coming in. Life happens to be, there's always going to be real estate transactions going on, but if you're waking up every day using all these excuses as a reason not to work, you're not going to work, right? Like I said earlier, look on the MLS at the number of transactions that have happened in the last 7 days. People are buying and selling real estate, not to the degree that they were, but there's enough to get yours in if you put the effort in.
Yeah. In Harnett County, our resale problem, I don't know if it's necessarily a problem or it's more of an adjustment that we need to make, is the new construction so cheap compared to resale. And I mean, I'm sure it's the same in Wake County. I'm just not as familiar. And the builders are offering such good incentives that it's like, okay, I would rather, it's a cookie cutter, but I would rather that with a, 6% interest rate because there's some kind of buy down option or something, that incentive that the builder's offering. And I think resale, when we talk about making adjustments and adding value, it's like, okay, how can I connect my lender to my seller and have them work on a plan to either offer some kind of rate buy down or credit or something, and to stick out of the other resales, but to be competitive with the new construction. And I think, hopefully we'll see kind of some more of that incentive for the resale part, just because it's tough to compete with the new construction.
Well, I do some business in Harnett County, but not a ton. I sold some new construction and during the last 2 years. So exactly what I think you're talking about. And that's what you just about new construction is exactly how I helped those people. I provided value to them, right? You're fine with that commute of an hour and 15 minutes into Raleigh because you don't work in Raleigh 5 days a week. You've only got to come to the office 1 day a week. This is your first home. You just want to get some equity and some skin in the game for probably 5 to 6 years. And then you're off to the next thing. You can't afford what you can get here.
Right.
You can't afford here what you can get there. So let's go have a conversation. And then they get a huge closing cost credit, blinds, windows, window treatments, washer, dryer, fridge.
Right.
It's hard to compete with that on the seller side for resale, right? So you've got this one opportunity for buyers. So how do we figure out to leverage that as a seller? And that's also another problem in our market right now is it's very difficult. I've got a listing appointment this Friday, and I know this lady already thinks that we should list her house for substantially, I think it's substantial, $30,000, $35,000 more than what I think the market dictates right now. These are hard conversations to have with people, but we talked about setting expectations earlier. I'd rather go ahead and figure out if we're on the same page now, as opposed to my sign staying in your yard for 4 months.
Right.
Because I don't want to, I spend a lot of marketing on a lot of money on marketing these listings, especially now more than ever. And I don't want to have all that sunk cost and not have a transaction. And I also don't want my sign to sit in your yard for 6 months because that's an advertisement for everybody around you to never call me.
Right. Yep.
And so it's figuring out the delicate balance and having that dance of, okay, I understand and I can appreciate why you think that. Here's the market data. Here's my list to sales price for my listings throughout my career. I know how to price these homes. You got to trust me at a certain point, and here's the data to back that. Those are hard conversations to have. And I do think it's not easy to have those. I think you have to get to some degree a little bit longer in your tooth before you have the confidence to have that.
Yeah.
Dude, my first 2 or 3 listings, I was scared to death. So
Whatever you want to sell for, Mr. Seller, I totally agree.
yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah.
We'll try that. I wanted to get a listing. I had not done listings before
Yep.
because I think there's this perception with new agents. I definitely had it. If I can just get to where I'm doing listings, it will be perfect.
Right.
And the next thing you know, it's 2025 and everything sits for 65 days.
Right.
You realize, it's not the same.
Yep.
Sellers almost always universally want more than they're getting. It's just the nature of it. And, so it's people have asked me before, what do you like working with, buyers or sellers more? The answer is both or neither, depending on how you look at it. They're completely different situations and different mindsets.
Yeah. Yeah, most of my business right now is sellers, but it's definitely like, obviously during COVID, those are fun conversations because you put it up on let's say you go coming soon on Thursday or Wednesday, and then it goes live Friday or whatever. And then by Sunday, you're like, hey, Mr. Seller, so here are your 15 offers. Yeah. You can pick from an $80,000 due diligence, a $70,000 due diligence. You can go $150,000 over, $100,000 over. Like, you just take a pick. Those are fun conversations.
Yeah.
These, hey, Ethan, why is my house still on the market? It's been 45 days. We've had 3 showings. What's going on?
Yeah.
And then to try to not say, oh, well, it's the market's fault. And like, yeah, you're right. I probably can, advertise a little better or whatever, but take a little bit of accountability for that. But yeah.
You're right. But there also has to be an understanding up front, and which is what I'm really trying to focus on, setting the expectations.
Yes.
Listen, where you are in Wake County, showing time is telling me that the average home in this specific area is having 2 showings a week.
Mm-hmm.
We've had 5.
Right.
Every home around you in a 3-mile radius has been on the market for 48 days on average.
Great point.
Only 2 or 3 of those have sold between 30 and 48 days. So I'm telling you right up now, up front, we're looking at whatever the data suggests, right. 75%. And I go back and have to reference that. Doesn't make it any easier.
Right.
But when you set the expectation, the worst case scenario is, well, when we bought this house in 2021, it was multiple offers and we didn't even tour it. We bought it sight unseen. Yeah, we're not there anymore.
Right.
Sorry.
Right.
Sorry. Here's the data. Data always paints the picture for us.
Yeah.
Always paints the picture for us.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. That's a good point. So what's on the horizon for you? What's next?
I just want to, I want to continue doing what I'm doing. Continue the trajectory that I'm on. I have focused a lot on client events the last year. It's something I've made a really big staple of my business. I'll tell you one thing I've done that has been great, and it's my favorite night or 2 nights of the year. I created what I call my VIP client list. This is the second year I've done this. Basically, it was every client I could trace 3 transactions to.
Okay.
Some of that is one deal, and they sent me 2 referrals. Some I've done all 3 with them, any combination of that. And I basically rent out a restaurant, and we have a private meal. Last year, we were at the Oak Steakhouse off of Lake Boone Trail, and it was awesome. There's, I think there was 36 of us. There was I'm a big bourbon guy, so there was a wild turkey pairing for all 4 courses. This year, we had the wine cellar at the Angus Barn for 2 nights because the crowd grew. I had more people qualified this year than last year. And so I want to take it because you made such a great point that I don't think enough people take seriously. The paycheck from this transaction is so nice compared to what I used to do when I worked with the NC State softball team, and I would go to a softball tournament in Clearwater, Florida for 12 days. Like, I need to go above and beyond. And so for these people that have sent me so much business, I want to treat them like royalty, and I care about them, and we're friends. And so I try to do these really nice client events. I try to touch everyone at least quarterly. I don't do the same thing for everybody, of course, but I still appreciate the guy who bought the 175 starter condo with me just as much as everybody. But I'm making a big focus on client events. I had this great dinner last year, the first time I did it, and 2 days after that dinner, one of those people sent me a referral, and We closed about a year. It was a year-long effort because of their timeline, but they bought a $1.3 million house. That was
Mm,
at that time, that was the biggest transaction I'd ever had. And so a lot of agents don't like spending money at all.
right.
I would rather spend money to take care of my people and show appreciation to them than spend money on content creation
True.
or buy leads from whatever.
Right,
So
right.
that's just my approach.
That's such a cool idea.
Yeah,
Yeah, I might have to steal that.
you still whatever. You still
Yeah, that's
whatever.
awesome.
But yeah, focusing on my people and keeping them
Mm-hmm.
and growing it out from
Mm-hmm.
there. And the thing I'm working on the most this year is the balance of time, right? Knowing when to shut it off, being present for my wife and child, and not letting the business lapse as a result.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's just, it's a constant refinement.
Yeah,
That'll never stop.
yeah. What's the biggest piece of advice you'd give a new agent?
The biggest advice I would give a new agent, have as many conversations as you can every single day. They don't even all have to be about real estate. Just talk to people.
Mm-hmm.
Be curious, ask other people questions, be an active listener, listen to them talk. Most people want to talk.
Mm-hmm.
In the course of listening to them talk and having a conversation, they're going to ask what you do.
Yep.
Understand, it's got so much advice if I could go back in time. Understand you can't work for everybody. You're not going to get everybody and you don't want to work with everybody. But, you have to think of yourself as a business and you have to talk to people all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And the minute you stop that, the door shuts. You basically, every day when you wake up, you either have a sign that you turn to open or closed, and you get to decide. And that's a mixed bag because sometimes you need to be closed.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're getting started, your first 6 to 9 months,
Oh, just keep that sucker open.
it's scorched earth. It's scorched earth
Yeah.
because, like I said, once you convert people and you start showing some success in your sphere and your family and people you already have those relationships with, once they see that, that's when it switches because now you're their guy
Yeah,
or gal.
that's so cool, man. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit of outside of real estate. What do you kind of do for fun besides jamming on the drums?
Well, I just started taking drum lessons. I was never in a band. I didn't even take band in school, but when I was in high school, my parents are still very great people. They impatient. And maybe hearing challenge now. They got me a set of drums, and I actually had two different sets of drums. But I'd say a couple months ago, I was just telling my wife, I need something for me other than business, dad, husband.
Yeah.
And so I said, you know what? I want to get back into this. I started taking drum lessons with my guy Merritt Partridge at 2112 Percussion, which is one of the largest drum stores in the country,
Really?
up off of Capitol. And man, I'm having so much fun. I just need that 1 hour a week.
Yeah.
And I get to practice home at some too. And Sophie loves it. I'm trying to take it slow. I eventually want to work up to getting another kit. But we'll see. Dude, when I was a senior in high school, my hair was down to my shoulders.
Yeah.
I wanted to be a record producer.
Okay.
Right? Like it was like Smashing Pumpkins, A Perfect Circle, The Cure. Like I wanted to be Aerosmith. I wanted to be a record producer, and that didn't work out. But we listen to music all the time at home, and so yeah, drums right now. That's like I watch a lot of baseball, not as much because I'm trying to go to bed earlier.
Yeah.
But just enjoying watching my daughter change and spending time with my wife.
Yeah. Are you trying to get in a band or anything like that, or just the?
If I got to where I felt competent enough playing with somebody else, I would definitely be open to jamming. But as far as being in a band, probably not.
Yeah.
Probably not.
Yeah. I don't.
Do you play any musical instruments?
Dude, I keep buying them. I just don't play them. So I have a mandolin. Played it once. Obviously, I have a ukulele because who doesn't have a ukulele? Played that once, and then I was like, what'd be so cool is a classical guitar. Like I could just kind of sit on the couch and pop,
Yeah.
pop, pop, pop.
Yeah.
Played that once, and that was about it, dude. I am musically inept. Like it is crazy how.
Never too late to start. I will tell you that when I was in I think 5th grade, I took piano lessons for 2 years. I wish I'd never stopped. I can still play Dream On by Aerosmith, probably piano, and I can play Tonight, and some other things. But it's such a nice outlet. It's so emotive. Music has been a big part of our marriage. We listen to music all night,
That's
all the
cool.
time throughout. And yeah, man, it's never too late. Dude, I'm 42. Well, I'll be 42. Yeah, I'll be 42 next week on the 6th.
Oh,
And
nice.
so,
Well, happy birthday.
thank you. It's never too late, man.
Yeah.
You got to have some, it can't be business all the time.
Yeah.
And it can't be family all the time.
Mhm.
I'm a better person I'm a better spouse. I'm assuming I'm a better father. I probably serve my clients better too when I'm feeling more at peace with myself, when I'm taking better care of myself. And so that's the main focus right now.
Yeah. For me, it was for music. I think one of my dreams, and not dream enough for me to actually go do it, I would love to be at a party and there'd be a piano and I could just sit down and start ripping the keys. And it sounds so cool. And everybody's like, dude, that's awesome. But that's probably not going to ever happen. But for me, yeah, like my outlet, like I'm a big cigar and bourbon guy. And so we have our garage set up with like a TV and some couches and all that good stuff.
So we need another hour because I'm a big bourbon guy.
Yeah.
And so we could get out there. So we could keep going into bourbon. One thing about the mandolin, are you familiar with Sam Bush?
Mm-mm.
Okay, you got to look up Sam Bush.
Sam Bush.
Sam Bush, mandolin aficionado. I'll give you some songs when we get offline here to check into. What's your favorite bourbon? Pick one bottle. Doesn't have to be special.
Okay. Well, obviously, like Pappy's is the best I've ever had. It is, and it like I'll never pay for it.
Which one?
I had the 12-year.
Mm-hmm.
And then my favorite one I try to keep on hand is Taylor's.
Yeah.
Blanton's is obviously very good. My go-to is either Russell's 10-year or I like Jefferson's. I'd say, I mean, obviously like Buffalo Trace is good. Actually, no. My favorite, if I can find it for the price, is Eagle Rare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like Eagle Rare a lot too. Try, if you see Kentucky Spirit, Wild Turkey Kentucky Spirit, on the label it tells you which rick house the barrel was kept in. And if you can find a Kentucky Spirit with the rick house CNF, it stands for Camp Nelson Rick House F, get that bottle. It's like $65-$69. Camp Nelson Rick House F, I believe, is where they store Russell's.
Okay.
So when you buy the Wild Turkey Kentucky Spirit in a CNF bottle, it's basically Russell's Reserve.
Oh, okay.
It's the exact same rate.
Really?
It's just cheaper.
Yeah.
But yeah, we could do bourbon all day. You know, I went through a spell last year. I made a promise to myself around Christmas. I'm not going to buy a bottle of bourbon in 2025 for the first 6 months, and I have kept that promise other than client gifts because I was buying too much. Like I got more than I can drink.
Yeah.
But it's fun to talk about. It's fun to get new stuff, share it with my brother or other friends. Yeah, we could do a whole thing on bourbon.
So I had I know this is not a bourbon show, but whatever.
It's your show.
It's whatever I want it to be. Yeah. So I, speaking of Wild Turkey, I never really liked it just because I've always had the Wild Turkey 101, whatever the cheapest stuff was, and it was just kind of like a mixer. But then my brother bought me a Wild Turkey Rare Breed Gold or something.
Mm-hmm.
So good.
Yeah.
Like changed my view on Wild Turkey. But there's tons of obviously great bourbons out there and stuff.
And there's great brew. You don't have to have the Van Winkle.
Right.
I have a bottle of Van Winkle 10. It's good. My brother has had a couple bottles of Pappy 12, which is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But dude, literally you can go, and I think this keeps a lot of people from getting into bourbon because there's a little bit of an intimidation factor.
100%, yeah.
You can go to any ABC store in the area and you can get a bottle of Woodford Double Oaked for $70, $65-$70, and it's good.
So good.
Like you don't have to eat the best. You don't have to drink the best thing all the time.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. I would say, actually, the Buffalo Trace makes a new product that is probably my favorite sub $40 bourbon, which is Travelers. Have you tried it?
I have had the Traveler.
You like it?
I thought it was okay. To me, that was something that I would probably mix.
Okay.
But I love Eagle Rare, and I know Eagle Rare is not the best, but if I see a bottle of Eagle Rare, I'm going to buy it.
Yeah,
because,
especially for $45.
You don't see it much around here.
Yeah.
And it makes a great gift.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Because I've got a couple clients that like I know Dude, if I see a bottle of Blanton's, I've got enough Blanton's. I don't want any more of it. But if I see it, I'm going to get it and take it to that guy's house, and he's going to love it because he loves Blanton's and he can never find it.
Yeah.
And he's told me this. And for that guy, providing value to that guy is not letting him know what his current market value of his house is. Hey, I found you a bottle of Blanton's.
Right.
MSRP.
Right.
Here you go.
Yeah.
Thank you for sticking with me.
Yeah.
Bourbon is so fun. I tell you what, if you go to so did you know that, I'll tell you something, and I love doing this. One of my favorite things. Almost every buyer that I close, we set up closing for 2:00. It takes about an hour, 45 minutes, and then we go to the Angus Barn. We go to the Wild Turkey Lounge. They open at 3:00 every day, and we go and we have early dinner and drinks at the Angus Barn, and that is my client gift to them. I don't buy a gift card to Lowe's.
Right.
I don't get flowers. I don't give some tchotchke piece of art that you're not going to like.
Cutting board with your name.
We go to the Angus Barn and have 3 or 4 drinks and a steak.
That's so cool.
And people love that.
Yeah.
So even though it's the Wild Turkey Lounge, they have an agreement with Maker's Mark, and Maker's Mark makes a special batch of bourbon every year just for the Angus Barn.
Really?
Yeah. And so every year, Angus Barn has, I don't think it's the top, the master distiller, but they have some big wigs from Makers come down. They do a big dinner, cater.
Oh, okay.
It's awesome. But check that out. Next time you want a special drink, get the smoked old fashioned at the Angus Barn. It's like $35, but you get it once every once in a while.
Right.
And they use AB4, which is the current batch. It's amazing.
That's cool. That's a great idea. Yeah. That's an awesome idea, actually. Yeah. Well, what did you think of the coffee?
I like the coffee. I definitely picked up on, let me see the bag. The cedar for sure. The cocoa, the brown sugar I didn't get.
I didn't get any.
But I love, I only drink black coffee unless I'm getting a latte. I don't put creamer in coffee.
What's kind of your go-to?
This is so ridiculous. So I've only been drinking black coffee for about 6 months.
Okay.
My mother-in-law got me on it, and it's just the Dunkin' original medium roast.
For sure.
And,
Good deal.
It's like my wife, when I first met her, she was my waitress at Flying Saucer. And I would go there and drink Guinness, and all of her colleagues and all these people, they're like, you need to get some fancy beer. I'm like, no, dude, I'm going to get what I want. And I like the Dunkin' pot, and I stick with it.
Yeah.
But when I go somewhere like Black and White or Sir, I obviously am getting their stuff.
Right.
And it's so good. But yeah, just
there is a difference.
Yeah, there's 100%.
How do you usually make your coffee?
It's just, it's a pod.
Okay, so like
I just
Keurig or whatever.
Just put it in the Keurig. Now, one of the best things I've ever gotten my wife, for me probably, is in Christmas one year, I got her a really nice Breville barista press. So on the weekend, she'll make a latte. And man, when she first got this thing, like she was watching videos on YouTube, she nails it. Yeah. And I rarely go somewhere where I get a latte that's as good as what she makes.
Really?
Yeah. It's totally spoiled me.
Yeah, we have this, it's like a Phillips, it's a Phillips something, but basically like it has a frother. It has like the hopper on top, and it makes a latte or Americano or
that's great
espresso or whatever. But it's not like those Breville things are sweet, but I'm like, that's too much work. I just want to go downstairs, press the button, it grinds the beans, and then makes the coffee right away.
Yeah, Amber has mentioned getting something else because we use it so sparingly because it's so labor intensive.
Yeah, and then you got to clean it all out.
And if you don't take the time to do it the right way, you've wasted it. You've wasted the time more than anything else. So actually, I'd like to shoot me a photo of what one you had. I'd like to dip into it.
Yeah. It's we love it. We've had it we got it. That was like our gift to each other. We got it like 2 years ago.
That's a great gift,
and it's been
still rocket.
I mean, we use it multiple times a day.
That's cool.
So, what would you rate the coffee on a scale of 1 to 10?
I'd give this Cowboy Blend a 7. I really enjoyed it. I would totally buy a bag of that and use it.
Yeah, I would say I'm probably right there with you. I'd do maybe like a 7.3. It was a little
too bitter.
No, a little bland. Like I try to always do the medium blends on this one because it's just the kind of in between,
more acceptable.
And not that wasn't. I mean, it's very good, very smooth, but it just didn't have that kind of like, I don't know, a little punch that I'm looking for. But regardless, it was a great coffee. So go to Larry's Coffee, get you some, and they have obviously a ton of different flavors and espresso beans and decaf and all that stuff. So check those out. Where can people find you?
Instagram is at my initials, ABYOPP, Albert Brandon Yopp, ABYOPP. And my website's brandonyopp.com. And yeah, if you want to follow me on Instagram, that would be great. You can see how my family is the focus. But yeah, we throw some real estate stuff on there too occasionally, and it's all good. It's all in fun.
Sweet. So if somebody wants to reach out to Brandon, you can DM you or whatever, find you on their website. Well, thanks for coming on, man. This was a fun conversation.
Ethan, thank you for having me. I feel like it was a little bit different than the other convos you've had, which is good. And I really love the back and forth with you. I'm just as interested in what you're saying. Right?
Oh,
we learn from each other.
Yeah, 100%.
And I think if I could give one more piece of advice to agents, new agents, more of this. I think too many agents see one another as competitors, and we're not.
We're not.
Your sphere is not my sphere.
Right.
I don't know. I know very few people in Harnett County. And you may not know a lot of people in my neighborhood, but we can learn so much from each other, and we can make everybody's businesses better. It can provide more value to our people by having conversations.
100%. I would just add to that. I would say, whatever firm you're at doesn't matter.
Yeah,
it really doesn't. I don't care if you're Keller Williams, Remax, whatever. Like, if you're a good guy or girl, like, I want to get to know you, talk to you, and see what your business is about and how you're growing, and we can feed off each other.
That's right. So what can I do for you, and what can I glean from you to help me as well?
Absolutely. So I love it, man. Well, thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you, brother.
Pleasure. This was awesome.
Yeah,
we'll have to do it again.
Likewise. Man.
All right, man.
Thanks so much.
Bye, everybody.